In progress. I have a water on Wednesday. Morning in progress.
Also.
Okay, now we need to get to.
Oh, well, I've got my internet carrier,
Oh, there it is. And we go back to slideshow from the beginning. Let's make sure that's on the screen is what you want. Or does it go? Go ahead.
based upon my daughter's recommendation. I'm going to
You're fine.
And someone gets you light.
Church $2,000 later on this
Yeah, I did. I talked about it. It's gonna be a lot
Yeah, they just ring the
I
bell.
had a whole lot.
Good, good. Yeah, they rang the bell, so go ahead.
Yeah. I don't like flowers.
It's all right. I won't.
Staying around.
Okay, first of all,
Molly wants your attention.
here we go. Lyn has a cold, and so if I do something wrong, he'll tell me. Anyway, we just want to share with you a magnificent relationship we have had, or still do have, with a congregation in Tanzania. And so we've been 3 times, and as I go through the slides, I'll try to elaborate on what this was all about. Next slide. Must have gone the wrong way. Okay, for those of you that need a little help, Tanzania is slightly larger than Texas, or twice the size of California, and it is just south of the equator, so they don't need watches. They know when the sun rises at 6 o'clock, and even their calendar, when they announce, church at 6, it's church at 8, that's 2 hours after, and it's really 2. That's 2 hours after sunrise. So some of the signs list both times so that everybody can understand when church starts. It's a tropical climate. Our congregation was kind of in the highlands, so it wasn't as hot and sweaty as Dar and Zanzibar are. And there are seasons, and they're determined by dry and wet. June through October is dry, and that's probably the best time to visit because they aren't busy farming and putting crops or even harvesting crops. And November and December have a short rain, and long rains are in March through May. And so, next. The Tanzanian structure, Lutheran Church, is called the ELCT, and it has a diocese, and there are 25 dioceses in Tanzania. The United States has synods, and the LCA. The 20 synods are partnered with 20 dioceses in Tanzania, and the St. Paul Area Synod, of which we were a part in Minnesota, is partnered with the Iringa Diocese in the Central Highlands. It is called Bega Kwa Bega, which is Swahili for shoulder to shoulder. I gotta go down instead of up. Okay, now you get to do your thing.
Okay, so we got to film.
This is a map of Tanzania, and our congregation is in the Iringa area. It takes 12 hours to get from Dar to Iringa town.
8 in the old days.
And eight hours.
Originally.
Sometimes longer. And Dar is right on the coast.
Right there.
It's not the capital, but it acts like it is. Dodoma, really, Dodoma is, have you ever run across capitals that have no reason for being other than just being the capital, and they are kind of central? Yeah, there you go. We went in 2002, 9, 13. And Shepherd of the Valley was the first. In 2002, we were the first group to go to Iringa, and there were 10 of us. We were the grandparents, although we weren't grandparents yet, but the older group. And then there was our pastor and her daughter, who was adopted from Korea. And so they picked up on that, said, where are you from, you know? And then there was a family of 4, a doctor, he and his wife, and their 2 children, 10 and 13. And then there was a person who was really instigated the whole thing. And she was there even a year before, she was working on it even a year before we went. And you know, today she is head of it at the St Paul Area Synod office. So. But before that, there had been a couple a pastor in Forest Lake, Minnesota, and he was retired. And they, for many years, spent part of their time in Iringa and kind of got this thing going. And we're highly admired by the people in Tanzania, in Iringa. I still can't go down instead of up. Okay, this is a main division. It's the Grand Ruhaha River, and so you're driving kind of in a plateau area, and all of a sudden you reach this area where you're going to be going up, and this is symbolic of what's happening down. Just keep saying down. Okay, when we got there, there wasn't really a hotel or a guest house or anything. So we stayed in this dormitory, which was part of Tumaini University, which was a college set up by Lutherans, by people that we knew in Minnesota for the most part. And unfortunately, because this was 2002, all our pictures were snapshots, which have gotten scattered to the slides. And so this is just one that we have. We had wonderful pictures of the 10 of us, but no more. This is Tumaini today. That last picture before was Tumaini in 2002. And they're still building. And no longer is it Tumaini, it's the University of Iringa. So it was a Lutheran college and now is a government college. So shoulder to shoulder, which is Bega Qua Bega, their motto is prayer, presence, and projects. Prayer is easy to understand. Presence takes a little bit more thought, but it really is important because we think of them as people that we really care about and friends. And I think without this day in which, you can instantly get on Zoom or or talk or even send email to each other, we really do feel like we know what's going on with them and they know what's going on with us. To the point that when we got there in 2002, one of the first things they said was, we are so sorry about the attack in 9/11. These people don't even have electricity, and they knew. And then projects, that just goes on and on and on. The list is enormous. Projects building, projects improving water. Anyway, we'll be enumerating a number of them. And this is the road to Tungamalenga. You'll have to tell me when we get to when we have to remember
the play button.
Yeah, we'll get there. So is this it? This is the one, isn't it?
Yeah, this is, yeah.
So how do I do this?
I don't know how that.
Oh, here it is.
I don't know.
Over to your right.
I don't know how I did it, but I did it. I got to do about 5 more times, so. Yeah, this is the 4-hour trip from Iringa to Tungamalenga, which was our congregation. This is 2009, our second visit. Okay, up.
Oh, down.
Down. Is it always down?
Down again. Yeah.
Okay, so have to explain this. Our church is in Tungamalenga, but then there's 10 other little congregations, not really, preaching points that belong to Tungamalenga. And so because, it's so hard, there are no cars, they walk. And so then if there's an important event, they all, like us going, they all come in, a lot of them come into town. So anyway, up, is it?
Down.
Down.
Okay.
Okay, this is another video, and this is the original sanctuary. And I don't think that crack in the center was really there. Lynn disagrees with me, but anyway,
Those are nice concrete pews.
yeah, check out the pews. They don't move. Now, Kirsten is the practice drummer, and she's just perplexed by this, and she's a musician.
Down. Yeah.
Okay, now, the building that we saw when the people were waving branches, it always reminds me of Palm Sunday. Anyway, this building is complete as of this picture, but and it's where the church offices are, and there's also a big community room, and a lot happens there. When we were first there in 2002, it had a dirt floor. It wasn't complete, but they were using it, so. And they were using it This is, there's two main groups that, in this congregation, the Hey and the Maasai. The Hey were farmers and the Maasai were herders. And in the 60s, Tanzania just shook everybody up and moved people all over the country. So there isn't too much tribal animosity going on. We detected a little bit of, well, you know, that kind of attitude. But anyway, this woman is Hey, and they are really big at making baskets, and she was showing us how she made this basket. And Evan, the 14-year-old, gave it a try. I think she probably had to rip it out, but anyway. And this woman is a Maasai, and they're good at beading. And, you know, we have a number of these crosses made out of beads. And I don't know where they get the beads, but anyway, there was commerce going on. Okay, this is a baobab tree, and it is huge. And we disagree on how many people got around it. You say 12? I think 10.
11 or 12.
Anyway.
And we've heard estimates of the age is 2,000 years old. I'm not sure I believe that.
I'm going to have to give you a microphone. Okay, this is what's left now with the sanctuary. The roof blew off. And so when we were there in 2002, the sanctuary was, together. But they took us to a place where they were building bricks and making a structure over and then starting a fire and keeping it for a while so the bricks were cured. And I was talking to this guy, I said, oh, well, how does this work? And he looked at me and said, how do you build your houses? Whoops. So anyway, I think right now that's the structure, the way it is. Yes.
Is English a second language for me?
Very good question. First language is Hey or whatever the Maasai speak. And the second language is Swahili. So in the lower grades, like grades 1 through 3 or 4. Well, 4.
Well, 4.
Okay. Anyway, so then starting in the first grade even, they emphasize they have to learn Swahili, but they also have to learn English. And by the time you get to secondary schools, you see signs speak English.
Wow.
Yeah.
All the instructions in English.
Yeah, all the instructions in secondary, yes.
So before the British occupied Tanzania, it was part of the German Empire until the end.
Correct, yeah.
So are the congregations that you're working with, they're a result of the German political situation in the late 19th century?
Did it affect them?
Is that really the root of Lutheranism in Tanzania? Because you don't see it, say, in Kenya or other neighboring countries, Uganda, in the same way?
We know mainly Swedish. In this particular area, I think they probably divided it up, and the Germans took one. There was a big Iringa cemetery with a lot of Germans buried, and that was First World War.
Also the wars between the Hey and the Germans.
Well, yeah, and there were, fights between the tribes and Germany. Okay, so this is the new sanctuary, and they had taken us not only to see the bricks, but where they would get the foundation stones. And so, this is not complete, but they were using it in 2009. And this is Front Room Kids. But they aren't in any front room. They're up there right next to yeah. And the choir director, our friend Barnabas, was making sure that they didn't get out of line. And this is the completed church. We needed a better picture, but that's the one we got. And this is the inside. It just gets more elaborate every time, you know. Okay, time for another. No, what happened? I gotta go back. I still don't know how to get it to play.
There's in the middle. Yeah, some of you touched on the bottom of the middle.
Down again, you gotta go down to get it on the,
Oh, wrong picture.
yeah.
Now, can I just push
use it as technology.
or the mouse
So,
just on it?
Where's the bottom? Just like-
Ooh.
Can't find the mouse.
Yeah, it's, it's good to look at the screen.
There it is.
Okay, now I got it. This is the choir.
I'll be around next week. With the choreography.
As long as they're demonstrating first.
Was that Swahili?
I'm sorry?
Was that Swahili?
I have no idea. I don't know. It's probably Hey. The main congregation there, they're predominantly Hey. And then the Maasai, have to be out because they've got animals, and so they're a little bit far away from Tungamalenga, which is, I don't know how many people, but, sizable number. Well, I'm sorry.
Okay, it's okay.
Down again.
Well, I just have to skip through it. Okay. We disagree on this one too. Anyway, this is a meeting of parents who have children in school that we sponsor. And Lynn thinks that the people in the back are students, but it's January. Why aren't they in school? So anyway,
Have winter break.
winter break.
Yeah.
It's
But
not
about how much it costs for
Oh,
scholarships.
when we started, scholarships were $200. Now they're $800. And that is, we're talking about secondary school. And they live there.
And that's the,
This fellow wanted to talk to us. I think he's probably been through Form 6, which is, next step is college. And he, on his own, did an after-school learning class. And so he's talking about how, learning English. Now, above that is fish of Minnesota. Wonder where that comes from. So this is a SACOS meeting, which is microfinance. And it was initiated by a fellow in Minnesota, a couple of them. And they have strict rules. And for a while, we were roommates with the guy who came, and he was going to each congregation, each SACOS group, and making sure the records were correct, and got great stories about wonderful things from people borrowing money and now being able to afford send their children to school. So. And this is a little map of the preaching points in the center with the star. You want to do that? Yeah. Oh. Is Tungamalenga.
right in there. And then a main preaching point for Maasai is in Palapande. here. And then Mahove is Maasai.
That's another Maasai.
Yeah. Yasilwa is Maasai.
And the rest.
Amalak is Maasai.
And the rest of them are Hehe.
Yeah.
And since then, this was a 2011 picture. Since then, they've split. So now there's two congregations. They're just growing.
Yeah. So Mapagoro is the center for the new parish because they had over 20 preaching points.
200 preaching points for one guy. And one of the things is they can't get from preaching point, can't get around very well. So we were getting bicycles and taking them out so that the pastor, but also the evangelists. The evangelists are the folks that keep things going in the preaching points and communicate with the pastor. So these bicycles were a big deal. That was 2002, wasn't it?
I think so. We added more. There were more than just 3.
Then there's the partnership meeting, and these guys are the big leaders of Tungamalenga, and big decisions are made here. And the partnership decide what students will get scholarships to the secondary school. Okay, but this is a partnership. This is a preaching point in the national park, Ruaha National Park. That was one thing that was special about our congregation and theirs. They had a national park, and we had the state of Minnesota's zoo. So I guess maybe you can't. But it just now here we go again. So these are little kids, and they go to school here, and their parents work at the park. Yesu, that's Jesus. Juana is God. Okay, here's Evan, 14, and Maasai. This is a preaching point, and they didn't have a worship center, they just worshiped under a tree. But the Maasai men can jump. Whoops. I guess they're going to be, this is where we decided we would show how bricks are made. And the story of this Maasai preaching point is that the women were really starting it, and then the men, they were making bricks, and finally the men thought, hey, we better get on to this. So that was the beginning.
Just like here.
And this is, is this the place they built the bricks and the thing fell down?
No, this is in Palapante.
Okay. Anyway, he's laying the bricks.
Molly,
Yes.
what did you mean they can jump?
Oh, here we go.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, it's a few.
See how high he is?
Oh, yeah, he's
Okay.
jumping. It's a big deal.
Okay, let me get that one. There you go. There you go.
Oh, thanks.
Look, the little guy. Okay.
Oh, there was more to it.
There was more?
Maybe we don't need it.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is the inside of the church. Please note the pews. And it was at this preaching point that the pastor, and it was translated to us, or because they were speaking to us, the evangelist said, before we were Christian, we beat our wives, and now we don't.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Another thing is, yes,
Well, I was in Tanzania and we went to a Maasai tribe and their houses were made by the women and they were made out of dung and hay.
yeah.
Was that there too?
No, because since they all mixed up the different tribes, these guys have become kind of sedentary rather than nomadic.
Okay, all right,
But
so
I-
it just
but-
was a tribe.
But some of them are made of interesting.
Yeah, the dung and hay.
Well,
they were
we
dark
had
and
sticks,
stuff.
sticks, yeah. Oh, yeah. When we were in Dar, we went to a museum that had, how many? 30 or 40 different ways to make a house. And, okay, so here's another thing that they really need help with is fresh water and safe water. And this is a picture of a well, a spigot. There's a well under it for a Maasai group. Now, in some cases, this wouldn't work because the elephants would knock over the piping. So we've seen it where they put concrete pillars just to keep the elephants from, because they don't just stay in the park.
So you can have St. Paul Park. St. Paul Park.
Oh, yeah, there's a 501c3 called St. Paul Partners, and they have a system where they actually hire people, Tanzanians, to run it. So there are so many little groups that are helping there, the list goes on and on. This is a preaching point, and just to show you, it varies from place to place. When you go, you get to hear the report, and they list that map. I think said there were 1,000 members on the map, but it's growing. Okay, we did have visitors come to our church too. And this is a Maasai pastor, and in his hand is a cross that is made of leather and then beadwork. And it was one of the evangelist's wives made it, and it's encased in glass at the church in Minnesota. Okay, farming. This little guy, so cute. He's going out and he's hoeing. But we ran into this guy who was changing oil on this device. It's really a tiller, but you can't. I mean, I'm not sure you could tell from the picture, but he told Lyn, and he said, no more hand hoeing. Okay, in 2013, we visited we went over there for 2 months, and we said, we'll do anything. We knew where we were going to stay. But so one of the things we did was go out to preaching to churches and with the pastor, because there were like 5 or 6 pastors who would go out and preach, U.S. pastors who were, anyway, this is one of them. And I thought, there's more front room kids, but it was under a tree. And they loved seeing their pictures. So, and then this is an ordination in 2013, and it's out in the country. We're going to see another ordination, but note the bishop back with his mitre. They must be from Pennsylvania. Okay, healthcare. You start out with a dispensary. That's just a place for pills, basically. And then and then grows from there until it becomes a health center, and then a hospital. And in the case of one, it became a district designated hospital. So this is a dispensary, but in Tungamalenga. And the star of the show is Barnabas. And he is not only an evangelist, but he is a medical officer. And so on his desk in 2002, as he was talking to us, was his Bible and some kind of manual for medicine. And this woman and her sister were in an automobile accident. And she is Messiah, of course. And Barnabas was with us. I think he was translating for us, maybe, anyway. So he's looking at her, and her sister was also in the same accident. And by putting the top of his hand on her knee, he thought it needed to be x-rayed because it was pretty sure probably broken, just from the heat. Barnabas became a dear friend. In his dispensary is this poster about malaria, and I'm sure you can't read it, but it has to do with if you can get a blood smear or not, and if you just suspect it was on the other side of the poster. But posters are interesting, and next to it was another poster. Well, no, wait, how do I do that?
Well, maybe that we interject.
Do we get it out of order? Okay. Well, we'll go to this one. This is another poster, and the middle poster is about mosquitoes and malaria, and it's about Shepherd of the Valley, which was our church, and they had over 450 kids in Vacation Bible School. And they had a net, and if you brought some money in, then you got to put a bug in the net. And so they ended up raising $1,200 for 400 Promethean-treated bed nets, which then Barnabas would give to new mothers or, where he saw needed. And so...
You could go back up.
So... what do you do? This was God Zone, which is it's front room kids on Wednesday, and Dr. Saga is the African there, and he has been with the hospital that was originally a health center, or probably first a dispensary, started by Swedish people. Anyway. They were talking, this is to demonstrate to kids what you need to do to avoid, and that was not this one, but another, we're trying to get the kids to understand what it's like for other people in Tanzania, okay? So bed nets, and this is in Barnabas's dispensary. There were 4 beds. Right?
There may have been more after that, yeah.
Okay.
Are those blue things nets that come down at night?
They do, yeah. And they're very important, especially during the rainy season. That's when malaria pops up.
Yeah, the permethrin will kill mosquitoes that land on that net. And it's made from chrysanthemums, which will grow at 7,000 feet or higher in the mountains of Tanzania.
Oh.
And so that's one of the things we do every time we have a group go over. If they need more nets, we'll buy them in Iringa put them on the trucks with us and take them out to the various villages.
A lot of the women spend a lot of time carrying water. So we were promoting, putting a well in for one of the,
I think that was
a number
one
of
project, yeah.
and so we did a church pretend carrying water from the campground about quarter of a mile up the road to carry water. And we were trying to get them to give us money, which we got. Okay, the little kids also herd goats in this case.
Right through Tungamalenga, yeah.
On church, during church, you know, we're pretty close to it. And then downtown, Tungamalenga, you know, they have little fruit stands. And, you know, right next to where you live, and there's an example, I don't know if you call it dung, but we were talking about, it's a thatched roof.
It's more mud, and it would wash off in the rainy season.
It was so fun to, yes.
What's the primary food? Is it rice or wheat or?
It's corn.
White corn.
And there it is, right there. And it's being grown everywhere, and it's white corn, and then they grind it after it's dried. And it's like grits, but they do it so stiff that it ends up being like a spoon so that they can get, you know, the grains or whatever broth.
Called ugali.
It's called ugali. Okay, so we walked a lot in Tungamalenga, and we had these little guys, I don't know, 4 or 8 of them, going, take our picture, take our picture, take our picture. And so they just kept walking behind us. And all of a sudden, so we turned around, and Lyn took his picture, and this is what he got. So what we did was we made pictures, and we made sure Barnabas got those guys their picture. Okay, 2009, Obama was elected, and this is Kirsten in the dress that they gave her, with Obama's picture on.
And you had mentioned Paolo.
And Paolo is the other guy, the tall Messiah guy. He's a great guy. And he's one.
He may be the first ordained Messiah.
The first ordained Messiah. They had a special group that ordained Messiah. And it was part of the seminary, but it was a special one. I think it was called Wandering Shepherds or something like that. Okay, so, you know, we had a van, but everybody, you know, kind of likes to ride along. And they were going back to Iringa. And so, you know, the suitcases and back, and then, you know, what do we got? Eight people? And this is Barnabas's wife, Elise, and she actually was holding hands with me at one time. And this is where we stayed when we were there for 2 months. And we were on the 3rd floor, and the part of the building that's closest to where we are. But so I told you we did anything. So they said, we would like you to make curtains for 2 apartments, because they had 2 apartments. This one had 3 bedrooms, and frequently we would have other folks stay with us, and you know, people that we knew, or we knew pretty well after it was over. Anyway, so a workman is called a fundy, and so we actually did find curtains. We were told where to find fabric. Turns out it was the kind of fabric that the Muslim people used to wrap their corpses in. But it makes great curtains. And then how to hang them. So we had this fundy come, and Lyn and the fundy are working on the curtains, or the curtain hangers. It was very That's,
Did you have a sewing machine?
did we what?
Have a sewing machine?
Oh, no, but we found somebody to sew on.
Yeah.
Which is a whole nother story. Yeah, we bought the fabric and then we said, do this. Well, the woman who was sewing them was part of the, it was like a little hotel run by the church. And her office was across the room from where the sewing was being done. And so this is so typical. We didn't just walk through the room. We stopped and talked to each person in that room to get across the room to show me the sewing machine. So it's just, that's just a cultural difference.
We could talk about Tanzania and time.
Oh, Tanzania and time, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Which means, half hour late, if you're walking late, is no shame.
Yeah, if you're walking to church and see people, you talk to every single one of them. You might be an hour late to church.
And the bishop, we waited over an hour, maybe an hour and a half for him to start the ordination. And then we had to go shopping. And this is our favorite vegetable guy. And then this guy sells pineapples and melons. And you have to say, he'll say, do you want it today or tomorrow? And he would give us, telling us what one, if we were going to eat it today, this is the one you need. Tomorrow would be a different one. And then here's another wonderful endeavor, name a crafts. And the wheelchair is because they hire a lot of handicapped people. And they work in a shop building all kinds of things, furniture, and they even dye their fabric to make. I'll wear a scarf every now and then, and it's hand woven. They also have a restaurant, and we had a friend who was over there and was teaching physics at the university. And he had made a good friend with this guy who was one of the waiters. The waiters are deaf, and so on the table where you sit, you can place an order, but you also there was some sign language so that you could tell the waiter what. So this guy is William. And this was Dick's good buddy. And so we were able to communicate with William. I think we had a picture or something that he was sending greetings. Dick was sending greetings. Anyway, this is part of the workshop. And these guys, they have all these wheelchairs. And when work is out, they have a race down the road. And it's cobblestone. I don't know how they do it, but you can anyway, they are just hilarious,
Few of them in wheelchairs, but they've also built bikes that they crank by hand. And instead of just going down the road, they're racing down the road back and forth.
Okay, this is John Mahekwa in the green shirt and Mufami. And these guys are students of ours that we sponsored through high school, college, and now are successfully, Mufami is in politics, kind of, I think, in Mbeya. And John is a pastor, and he was our guy. We gave money, and we got tied up with him as a student when he was in high school. He now calls me Mama. And then he had a baby about the same time that we had ours. So we were double grandparents. Okay, here's another thing that folks from St. Paul started, and this was a thank you to evangelists and pastors, and it's in a memorial to Benjamin Ngeti, who was a pastor and spent some time in St. Paul. He went to the synod and went to the seminary and took a class. And so anyway, he was our interpreter for a while. And we were there for a while. There was no way to communicate. And all of a sudden,
When we were in Tungamalenga.
when we were in Tungamalenga, it was in our interpreter.
Yeah.
Tungamalenga, yeah. Okay, so all of a sudden, a car comes, and it's his son telling him that his sister, also Benjamin's daughter, Lucy, had passed away from AIDS. So in that visit in 2002, we started by going to a wedding that we were invited to, but they said, oh, yeah, come on. Weddings are, it's a group project, you know, there's a committee, and they make it a big deal. So, no, and the big thing is pop, you know, Fanta. So anyway, so I'm getting way off the base here. Anyway, this project here is to thank pastors and evangelists, and they come from out of town, and they spend 2 nights. I don't know where they sleep, but anyway, and the medical community from Alula Hospital came to give medical examinations, and then there's inspirational speakers and that sort of thing. But this is the road to, and that's uphill. It doesn't look like it, but it's uphill. And this is a community building that Augustana Church in St. Paul helped. Anyway, they're getting the lawn chairs all lined up for these people. And but it's so much fun. Here she's greeting him, you know. It's just so neat to have people that they don't get to see each other often, and so it's very rewarding.
They're pulled from all around the entire district to come in for this.
And the ladies are sitting on actually it looks like a railing, but they didn't fall.
Don't worry.
And this is, Lyn took pictures, and we took pictures of every couple. And this is Sigwa, and he works at the Synod Diocese office. And this is Israel and his wife.
And he went out as an interpreter with us a couple of times.
Yeah. And Barnabas,
Elise.
#1 friend. Okay, and Elise, she actually showed us how to make ugali. She made it a big production. She's a school teacher, and she cooked it inside, and then she had this little burner, and she was showing how to make it really stiff. So it was just really special. And these are the medical people from Alula Hospital.
And the U.S.
And the U.S. And what happens is this hospital has become kind of a J-term project, so that residents and nurses and people from the University of Minnesota, yes.
So have they been affected by the shutdown of AID and funding from the U.S. for medical care?
I suspect, yes, but I'm not connected well enough to know exactly what's going on there. But they had a Trump guy kind of be their president for a while too. So big promises and then not living up to it. How are we doing on time? Okay. Another sign, eye exams here. Blood pressure, and those people are nurses. They're just visiting at Alula. Okay, they had lunch, of course. It's pretty, catered. This is where they put them in the pans. It's just down the hill from that wonderful road. And this is the kitchen. And we didn't get sick. Okay. Okay, just to help many groups, this is just a list of groups in Iringa that help, and doctors, pharmacists, infectious disease nurses. These are all visitors that come and think of good things to do. So church youth groups. The guy, one of the fellows that of the number of the 10 of us, ended up being, he went to Hamlin College, and he ended up being our youth director for a while. And he took a group of high school students over there, and it was fascinating. And he then decided that he wanted to be a pastor, so he's now a pastor at our church. But before that, yes.
Would you say it's unique to Tanzania to have that many Americans coming over doing things, or is that throughout Africa?
I have no idea. This is just personal experience, yeah. The two choirs went over there, and they joined up with choirs there, and then they put on a show, and they all have matching outfits. Secondary students using Centers music. Microfinance, we talked about that. Oh, the co-ops, but when they were having trouble with, they were having trouble getting fertilizer and seed, and so now in Tungamalenga, and so now they have a co-op so that they can buy fertilizer and grow better, and also the U of M agriculture department, helped. Okay, this is Olula Hospital. There was another doctor visiting with another group, but our doctor and the other doctor went with Kirsten and the doctor's wife, who was a non-pathology nurse, and went to this health center, and Local Health in Fridley said, hey, would you go look at this place and see if you think it could be a hospital? And so it was uniquely geographically located near a busy highway, and the highways were getting busier. And in 2002, when we were there were a lot of diversions, which means they were, we went off the road and went for a while. And so finally they built this highway, and so hence a lot of, accidents, and I think also disease were carried.
So Lulu is about 30 kilometers east of Iringa.
So this is the hospital and patients, and on the list on the left is charges of how much it would cost to get a procedure, and more waiting rooms. And this is Dr. Saga, the same guy with next to the mosquito bed. He was there from the very beginning. Now he's retired, but he's a wonderful guy. And this is the head right now. And they've always wanted a morgue, but it's really hard to raise money for a morgue. And so they're still hoping. But anyway, a surgical suite was one of the first things. So many people just, these doctors that went there, they're charismatic. They would, convince people, hey, you have money, just people wanted to give to such a worthy need that this surgical suite was built after 2002. And 2 babies were born. In Tungamalenga, there were a number of people who said, my mother died in childbirth. And you can understand that there was just one bus to Iringa, where the good hospital was. And
It comes through
4 hours to get there.
4 o'clock in the morning, it comes through and starts blowing its
Honking, yeah, even where we were. So then we walked through this room, and then we got back out. The guy who was giving us the tour said, yeah, those are all AIDS patients. And over 4,000 of them visit there monthly, and I don't know what's happened to that. Hopefully it's, and this is a nursing school, another major project at Alula. It became a hospital, and then it became a government hospital. But I think since then, another government hospital took its place. But anyway, they're still doing very well. This is a classroom for the nursing school. And this was a dormitory. It wasn't quite finished in 2013, but it is now. And then another doctor, he was just crazy about plumpy nut. And I think we had 10 boxes, and they were 30 pounds each. Plumpy nut, the malnutrition is a big deal. And so we had that for the hospital to dispense to people.
Is pumping up like peanut butter?
It's like, it's a nutritional, I don't know, I didn't taste it, but it's a traditional, it's supposed to boost your health, for children especially. Okay, this is the dedication of another dispensary. Yeah, here we go. So this went all day long. These guys are hilarious. Check out the drums. And the hats, I think they're a bag. But they're just so happy. This is going to be there were 30, award for 30. I don't know where all these people came from. And the bishop. Okay, yes.
Would you say it would not be true to say that these people are living in desperate poverty, but maybe that they're just poor or even middle class?
Poor. Yeah. In Tungamalenga, the average family income is the same as the 1-year tuition on the scholarships, $200 to $300 at the time.
Yeah.
And the one thing with the microfinance, many of them have been able to double the amount of crops they're growing, make enough money that they, if the kid hasn't gotten a scholarship, can send one of their kids on to secondary school.
Okay, this is the guy, Will Carson, who paid for the construction of the 40-bed ward.
Yeah,
he's a veterinarian. And he had a lot of farmland. He was a large animal.
Yeah.
So he just, he was one of...
I have to ask, are you guys wearing Tanzanian garments?
Yes, John Joseph gave these to us. This was like maybe 2 inches too small, but it had a nice seam allowance. Okay, secondary schools. This is John Joseph, you know, the guy that is our baby. He was, we discovered him here. We knew he was here.
There
He was called to the principal's office. Von Wilcox, who was our pastor that went with us. And John got an SOTV shirt. they all knew.
Okay, so this group is sponsoring one student among two of them, two students. But in the business and what? Yes. John Joseph Haikwa. Honor John was sponsored from St Paul Area Synod.
Okay, this was like lunch hour, and everybody was, we were there.
We are going to bring up so that we can perform the very well. May God bless you until to the end of the day.
Well, I did it
Just
again.
go down, yeah.
I went down. Okay.
Oh,
Okay, it was lunch hour. Yes.
So what percentage of girls and what percentage of boys?
What was group?
Percentage of students are female.
Not 50-50. I don't know. It would depend on the school. I think there are 5 Lutheran secondary schools, but this was lunch hour and there's no dining hall. You just take your dish and they put it in, and so you could get food that way. But so everybody was there, and Elizabeth and Angela, who's the blonde there, they were dying to feel her hair, which they did. And they're just amused. Okay, here's another school, Amagi. And these guys were our students from Shepherd of the Valley. And this is how you stand in line for lunch.
a huge pot of golf.
Okay. Here we go.
No,
This is it.
I don't think we did a
Oh,
video.
we didn't? Oh, I thought we did. Okay, so I'm taking names and marking them. And then, I don't know how many thousands we did, but we took pictures of all of them so that the congregations could see their students. And then somebody said, "Nah, that's not safe." So the information went nowhere.
They were afraid if you put their name and face up there, cyber scams will run, so.
So
We
that
have all
was the
that.
end of that, but we got to, anyway, this guy, I knew his dad, and the regular picture on the left.
There you
And then I said, George, and that was his dad's name. So we got a smile out of him.
Yeah, so George is the treasurer of the parish in Tungamalenga. And it's amazing. I don't know if George weighs 100 pounds, but when they grow rice, and they do grow some rice in the lower parts there, these huge bags of rice, he picks them up and carries them. And when they have a good crop, he will put bags of rice on their vehicles going back to Iringa to give them to the Haruma orphanage, which you'll see here.
I don't think we have time.
That might not, so.
Anyway, this is a government school, but we had students there because it's just really close. And this guy is from he's distributing Bibles. And he went out with us because he wanted to give these Bibles away. And so everybody, who wanted one could get a Bible. Okay, swiftly to John's ordination. Big church, Kihesa again, up the hill, and the bishop. And John in a stole from our pastor, who's like 6'2". And John's parents. I understand some people think white people are ghosts. And here's John and Addie, his wife. And they both got master's degrees. And John is giving a blessing at our church. And he'd never seen snow before. And that was Bonnie, who was the pastor that went with us. And another pastor and his wife came to Minnesota. And these kids are in orphans. It's an orphanage, and they just all got new clothes.
Is that mostly because of AIDS?
I'm sorry?
Are they orphans because of AIDS?
Yeah, or, mother died, or dad died, or, so they dance, and they're really pretty cute. Okay, I'm gonna put that.
Wow.
Okay, and that's the end.
Oh.
Well, we just love this relationship. And they're even friends on Facebook, so I'll probably put something up so they can see it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Molly, are you going back?
You have to be strong and healthy to go back, and we would hate to have a medical emergency there, so no, unfortunately.
Rather grueling trip,
Yes.
8 hours from Minneapolis to Amsterdam.
Oh,
9
would you
hours
say
to
you
Amsterdam.
went as parish workers rather than, say, school teachers or nurses?
We went as a congregation, representative of a congregation.
To work at a church level.
Yeah, well,
Just getting there.
and we were just trying to build a relationship.
But are there also people like from Minnesota coming over as school teachers? and
Yes, yeah. I don't know, from Minnesota to Africa, I don't think.
And then one more question, are there any, you might not know the answer to this, are there any studies of African culture versus American culture in which African culture is much more mobile